I'm talking to John Knorr, CEO and founder of SIS Business Systems. John, we've had some terrific feedback from people within the Uglii Coalition that want some additional explanations about what other functions Uglii brands can offer businesses.
Yes, Joe, we've had some good feedback on that last take that we did. The feedback that I've got is that people want to know a bit more about where the Uglii brand's functionality is going to take business in the future. So what we're going to talk about today is just a little extension of what we talked about in the earlier clip. What people are interested in knowing about is a functionality that we call a storefront, which basically is a facility that automatically aggregates all the information that's been put into a business's discovery settings and creates it as a presentation that the public can see. That's pretty smart sort of process because it is searchable. Joe, what we're doing is we're taking Uglii brand's search functionality and putting it inside a business, and we're also taking the Uglii taxonomy and putting it inside a business. Now what we're doing is stripping out all of the aspects of the economy that don't relate to that business. So if I'm a hardware store, for example, then they're not in the business of building nuclear power stations or roads or doing accounting. So all of that stuff is left behind, and only the products and services that hardware stores provide are displayed in that storefront.
And that storefront website is fully searchable?
It's fully searchable, and it's built by the inputs of brands by the brands in the store. So all of the brands that are inside the store literally have an input into the virtual storefront, okay? And they can alter that. They can alter it dynamically in real time. So if they add a new product or service into their range of products or services, that's added in real time. If they reduce their number of products or services, they are reduced in real time. So it's a dynamic thing. New brands come on board, supply something to that store, then they come in and add their position in the store is automatically updated.
Adding a credential.
It's adding a credential to that store. Now that's very important for businesses, because businesses generally don't have time to arrange that sort of information for a website. Just impossible to get a business to do that. Our functionality does that automatically. So any business that buys that service can have that facility sitting in its website, and that's automatically maintained. Now, if there's not a brand related to something that the store does, let's shift from the store being a hardware store to being a construction company, then there's a lot of generic things that construction company may do. It may do excavations, or it may do drainage work, or it may do bricklaying. They are not brand related services. They are generic services. So they can just click on those and add them in, and the system will put in all of the taxonomy that's relevant to those services. But of course there won't be brands attached to the end of them, because there's no brands that relate to them. So the system is relevant for just about any business that provides more than a few services. It's affordable, there's a setup fee, and the business is charged on the basis of the number of credentials that are in its store. So it's scalable. So if we get a very big hardware store, then it's reasonably going to pay a lot more than a small hardware store or a plumbing business or a construction business that doesn't have as much content in its store. Okay, so that function, that's what we're really talking about, and that's what people are interested in at the moment. That runs into the Uglii spatial marketplace systems, where that activity in those systems is triggered by a request for somebody. What our systems are doing is interrogating the store to see if the store provides that product or service or whatever it may be, brand or model. And if it does, then it can alert the owner of the store that somebody wants to buy that, and do they want to make an offer to the to the buyer, or it can automatically be told to make an offer. So those processes can be automated. But that's how we move on from where we are with the brands that we talked about last week. So that functionality won't be there for a little while, because we need the information to build up in our systems as more brands come in and credential, say, retailers in the system. Then that allows those stores to be created. And they're created with a press of a button from the business's control panel. So it's very easy. What businesses need generally is things to be easy, that they don't have to understand and they don't have to think about.
Sure.
If I've got a good car, I don't have to think about how it works.
Yes.
I just know that it does it. And this is the same sort of thing.
And how does a business know when it's been credentialed?
Well, the system sends it some alerts. Now, initially, business will be very excited about that, of course.
Yes.
But if I've got, 1,000 brands in my store, then after the 50th alert that's sent by an email to me, then the novelty of that may start to wear off. So I can turn that functionality off. So I'm sick of these alerts, so I don't want to hear about them every 2 hours. So I can turn that off. And once it becomes, the novelty wears off. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
In a summary, John, that there wouldn't be anyone that wouldn't want to have this function, this storefront function.
It's fairly hard to see a business that won't use this. Unless it's a very, very narrow business that's just providing one type of service.
Sure.
But our taxonomy is so detailed that most businesses will find themselves providing actually more than one service or selling more than one product. So yeah, it's fairly hard to see a business that won't enjoy this sort of functionality, because it just makes it so much easier for them to stay on top of their online presence.
And they don't have to do anything, it's just automated.
It's automated, but they can do stuff if they want to. They can add generic information in if it's not being provided by third parties.
Sure.
But that's really about all they have to do. Yeah, it's pretty smart stuff.
Great, well thanks for explaining that for us, John.
Thanks, Joe.